seated with me, my confidant. Wow, my mouth looks amazing when I do that. I kind of look like a giraffe. Anyways, welcome back to another episode of Confidently Insecure, the podcast where we are absolutely sure we don't know everything. And really, truly, my friends, we don't know everything. And that is kind of what the podcast is about today, more so than every other week that it normally is about anyways, because we are doing sort of a fun little crowdsourced episode where I asked a lot of my friends and people I know to send me voice or text memos to talk about a specific subject, and we are going to listen to them here, comment on them, relate, garble in the fun of commonality, or get angry, get sad. We're going to make mistakes, okay? I will warn you guys, this is a largely cishet episode. When I called out for the subject matter, which, spoiler alert, I mean, I think you can tell by the vagina titling, is that this is all about vaginas and how we feel about them, how we relate to them, the problems, the love, the hate, the joy, the suffering. And when I reached out to some of my non-cis female friends, I think they were probably more reserved on just kind of giving me a quick soundbite because there is so much more involved in that conversation. And so while we did put the call out, it kind of felt like it needed to have its own episode, really. It kind of needed its own space. I didn't want to just like loop it in and shorten it and all that shit just to match like the timing of this. So again, just clear warning, this does deal with a lot of cis vagina owners, and we will be working on an opposite episode to that. So this episode is really fun because you're going to hear a lot of voices that you recognize, some of your favorite people that have been on the podcast. You're also going to hear from some random people. I will keep some of them anonymous. And before we get to that, I just want to remind everyone, May is Mental Health Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. Don't really know what that means because every day feels like Mental Health Awareness Day for me. But this isn't an ad, by the way. I do just want to put out, since it is Mental Health Awareness Month, to, check in on your strong friends, make sure your friends are okay. Try BetterHelp. That's the therapy app that I'm working with all the time, and I literally use them every week as therapy. I love them. If you can't afford therapy, that just find something that makes your mental health feel like give it a vacation this month, right? Like, let's give them this month to be as they are, right? Like, we're all in quarantine. Just let it out. Let it be. And I think we're going to probably do a more specific mental health episode this month. But just put that on your radars. Also, next week is Mother's Day. Just wanted to remind everyone, because I sure needed a reminder. So by the time you're listening to this, it's on Sunday, okay? And if it's past Mother's Day, you missed it. I'm sorry. You listened too late. But everyone, don't forget about that day. You don't have to have a chosen mother, someone close in your life. I was raised by a nanny, and she is like my mother. So I really have like two mothers when I think about Mother's Day. My mom wants the same exact fucking thing every year for Mother's Day, which is a handwritten poem. I don't know why. She's not like an artistic, sentimental person, but that's what she asks for every year. So I think this year I'm actually going to level it up a little bit and get a like wooden box to put the poems in, because right now they're just in her nightstand, and I feel like it would be nice to have like a little custom wooden box for her to put them in. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Other places that are like still delivering, I ordered a Mrs. Fields cookie for my dad's cancer remission anniversary last week. It is a little pricey. I think the cookie itself is like $35, and then plus shipping made it like $50, I think. So just be aware that $50 is a lot, but maybe try an edible arrangement, shop local, Etsy, just do it soon, because that shit's gonna creep up before you know it, especially with quarantine time. Quarantine time doesn't make sense. I was reading an article about it today. The reason why, if it feels really sped up to you, because I think some people, I was seeing a lot on social media of people being like, God, quarantine, the days are so long. What am I supposed to do? I'm so bored. I'm like, yo, I'm moving at the speed of motherfucking light in this quarantine. And it's not like I was going to say it's not like I'm doing extra, but I am because I built a fucking garden. But the days are, I look down and I'm like, how is it 7:30 already? And the like theory behind this, and I don't know if I've talked about this before, but it kind of like freaked me out and made me a little bit sad. But like the older you get in life, the faster time goes because there's less monumental dates that your brain like grasps onto. That's why I think like grandparents are so obsessed with their grandkids, not because they love them and they're like genetically bound by DNA and blood, but because their lives are moving so fast that grandkids slow them down, right? Like there's more milestones to recognize. So like, yeah, that does freak me out a little bit about getting older. I mean, I guess I just have to like keep doing epic shit as I get older, because I think if you get into the routine of like the 9 to 5, the kids, the, you know, the grind, I mean, that's fine, right? But maybe like let's try and make more, I don't know, holidays, memories. I would have quit smoking weed a lot sooner than I did, because I fucking fully don't remember like any of high school, truly none of college. And I will say this year of being sober has gone by pretty quick, but in a way that feels good. You know, like I'm not like, oh, it went by quick because I was blacked out half of it. It just went by fast because like life was happening, baby. God damn it. I got so sidetracked. For 6 minutes in and we haven't even fucking A. Okay. Let's get to the episode then. I was going to title this, I Hate My Vagina. And then I was like, well, that's really upsetting. I don't just want it to be a corner to complain. So I asked everyone to tell me things that they love about the vagina and that they hate about the vagina. So we get like a nice little balance. And some of these I have not listened to yet. I asked my friends and people I knew to text voice memos or text to me. And I didn't want to like pre-listen to them because I wanted to kind of like react and listen along with you guys. So some of this I have no idea what it's going to say. I apologize for anything in advance that is not PC or the correct verbiage. Again, like I know we say vagina and we really mean vulva. Okay, I know. We are unlearning a lot of what the fuck we were taught in sex ed. No one fucking taught us to refer to it as the vulva. So when I say vagina or vulva, it's not interchangeable, but like just give me a break, okay? So fucking hop off my vagina. So the reason why I wanted to do this episode is because I was thinking about, you know, I do these week to week and I try to keep them relevant week to week. I don't want to like block shoot too many. That does also put a lot of stress on me because then I'm like, oh my God, I'm all day thinking about it until the episode is up. But I could not fucking even function earlier this week when I normally like take time to plan out my work for the week because of another goddamn yeast infection. Now listen, if you have been listening to Confidently Insecure and adult shit, I bet you, and my Instagram, I bet you there have been more episodes with me talking about how I do have a fucking yeast infection than don't. And I didn't know chronic yeast infections were a thing. This wasn't something I really like grew up with. This happened later on in my life. I can't really find a source. I've heard that it has to do with sugar intake. Your detergent. I just bought a new detergent today at Target that's called like 7th Generation. It's for sensitive skin, so we're going to give that a fucking try. If anyone has any goddamn recommendations for detergent, I really have a hard time in the shower because I want to wash my pussy off because it's flappy and sweaty and stinky, and I'm afraid to put the fucking soap on it because I feel like, would you rather have a stinky pussy or an itchy pussy? And sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I'll just fucking put the goddamn shower head hose on really high and just spray the shit out of it, but in a downward motion so I'm not douching. I've been so plagued with chronic yeast infection issues. I cannot fucking tell you how many events or pictures or Instagram stories or things you have seen of my life that look like all hunky-dory and rainbow flowers in social media when I was really, oh my God, desperate to put my hands down my pants. And someone who submitted a text put something so fucking relevant in here about how like it's so wet and slippery down there that the itch is never satisfying. So even if I can get an itch down there, it's like, oh, fuck, it slid around like a fucking piece of jelly on bread where you're just like, oh God, fucking, it's so hard to satisfy the itch. And I know I'm not supposed to itch it. I use the Monistat cream. I use tea tree oil. I fucking wrote down some like little things you can try. You know, I use boric acid, okay, suppositories. Those are little pills that you shove up your puss. They're like silky and pink looking, and it's supposed to level out your pH. I got pH testing strips off of Amazon, which you get like a little test tube basically, and you pop it open, you take out a strip, and the little tip of the strip has like a little square that's the testing strip, and you just shove that up your pussy, but you can't do it after you pee because your pee's really, I think, acidic. I don't know if that's right, but it will change the result. Like if you get pee on it, it'll turn like black immediately. So you shove it up your puss, and it goes from like light yellow to brown, and there's like green and tan in between, and like the darker it is, the worse your pH is. And so I did one of those strips. Of course, I was in the darker zone, and I'm just like, what did I fucking even do? Like, what did I even do to deserve this? Sometimes it's just your hormones. I've heard that like every time you get a period, you can get a yeast infection. I recently discovered this new thing, which I can't believe with how much fucking research I have done about yeast infections. I never came across this word, but it is called, oh God, I better make sure that I'm saying this right. Sclerosis genitals. I'm going to look it up just to make sure. No, not luxurious colors. My autocorrect changed it to luxurious colors. It's called like lutrins, sclerosis, lichens, Lichen, sclerosis. And it's called white spot disease, and it is a chronic condition that causes thin white patches of skin, usually in the genital area. It's usually in premenstrual, postmenopausal women. However, it can also be linked to genetics, immune disorders, traumas, or infection. And be warned, if you're going to look at the photos, you know, if you Google anything genital related, you're going to see, but like basically there's white patches on like the vulva opening and like the, hymen area. And I know like if a hymen's broken, it's still a hymen, right? Like it's still the vaginal wall. And you can kind of see like, that's what I think I'm dealing with. Anyway, it's supposed to be itchy as fuck. There's no cure, of course. I don't know. I scheduled a gyne appointment. Anyways, I just want to put that out there and see if anyone had ever heard of that. Also, I didn't know that your hymen could be so many different shapes when you're born. Sometimes women are born with, or people with vaginas are born with, people with vaginas are born. I don't know. It can be so many different shapes, and that can affect like how, you know, the hole opens and how that affects how you have sex and how painful it is. So that's what I was dealing with earlier this week, and I just couldn't even fucking think about something else to fucking have an episode about. So that's where the inspiration for this episode came from. So without further ado, I would like to go ahead and start the audio of my friends and family and others who sent me their audio. I think it's going to be really funny. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Let's start first with my friend, Brittany.
Okay, hi. Sorry, this is a little late.
No, it's not.
So my vagina, I love her. I have had a love relationship with her my whole life.
Lucky.
You know, when I actually didn't realize though until college that I have a really big clit. Like I would get changed openly and freely. I was always very like whatever with people seeing my body. I never had any like shame or wanted to hide it or felt like it was like naughty parts. But my friends would kind of like talk about it behind my back, and then finally someone said something in my face. They're like, "Your clit is huge," and I was just like, "Oh, I guess I just didn't realize they came any other way." Like I didn't watch a lot of porn, I didn't do a lot of research, so I had no idea that I had this enormous clit. And And then I think, like, once the seed was planted, like, I never had any shame. I didn't change my viewpoint of it, but I was just like, oh, I do have an enormous clit.
Hi, girl.
And it's been something that, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't wear that bathing suit because it's not all going to fit in there. Like, legitimately, before I was born, like, when my parents went to their ultrasound to figure out the sex of the baby, they thought it was a boy. Like, they literally were like, oh, there's a dick. But it was just my huge clit.
Amazing.
But anyway, no, I didn't have a lot of shame about it, but I did have a friend who had a similar vagina, and she had a lot of shame about it. And then after she got
twins.
she got pregnant and had her baby, she got a labiaplasty. And she's like, it's amazing, da-da-da-da. And I've kind of been thinking about that, not for vanity's sake, but more for, like, I don't want this thing sagging down to my kneecaps when I'm 70. And then, what else?
Let's get to the love.
I guess the only thing that's really changed in my vagina is, like, obviously, like, guys talk about this all the time, but the elasticity, like, I used to be able to take,
Are guys talking about
like,
it all the time?
foot-long dicks. And obviously, my husband doesn't have a foot-long dick. But I do feel like a little more pain having sex now. Like, it's not as stretchy, I guess, or lubricated. And part of that is because, like, I think I was so drunk all of college when I was just, like, hooking up with everyone, and I didn't really care if it hurt. And now I'm a little more sensitive to pain, and I don't necessarily feel like it's sex is as enjoyable as it used to be, because I think it used to be like a performance for me, and now it's kind of just like, okay, yeah, this is good. And if I use the womanizer or like a sex toy to come, I still come, but like I don't come without using something else besides a penis. And then, you know, I think it's just like, yeah, it's changed. She's gotten a little like, sometimes I'll be having sex, this is maybe TMI, but sometimes I'll be having sex and, like, I'm wet and everything's good, and then all of a sudden it just feels like somebody threw a fistful of flour in my vagina. Like, it's just like, it dries up out of nowhere. And I don't know what that is, because it's not that I'm not enjoying it. It just, like, gets dry. It's very strange. But I love her. We're on good terms. And I hope this works. I don't know. Okay, love you. Bye.
That is Brittany. Oh my God, you guys. She is so funny. She is a stand-up and comedian. She has a podcast. I was on it. She also has these things called Hoe to Go bags, which are my favorite. We've done an ad for it here on the podcast before, but she has these bags that are for hoes, and it's everything you need for a hoe night out, bachelorette party, birthday party, one night stand. Keep it in your lover's closet. Go check that out. Thanks, Britt. Dude, you brought up so many good points. The college sex versus adult sex is so fucking true. Like, just it's hopefully a change that does happen for a lot of women, but I hope that there are, you know, you see how different pleasure becomes as you age, just because, you know, we already are taught to see this big dick, and if it gets hard, it's a good thing, and if it doesn't, it's a bad thing. So it's our goal to make sure it's hard and that it comes, and like, whew, you know, it's something you can see, whereas like the puss is like, you know, you can see it and you can feel it, but you can't really see its mechanisms working unless, like, you know, you got a microscope in one of those like eyeglass things that the Monopoly guy wears in his eye, then put it in your fucking crease and you're up in there and you can really see the muscles contracting during an orgasm. But yeah, I think her point about the not being able to come without a vibrator is so fucking common. And that's exactly why I wanted to do this episode, because I think there are so many more things that we can all relate to that we think are like just us or just happening to our pussies. And that's kind of why I wanted you guys to hear, like, you know, some of my friends who I knew wouldn't be afraid to share all of it, that you can see we're more common. We have more fucked up problems than we think. And that, like, the issue at the end of the day is that we just don't have enough money and funds for women's health and reproductive rights research and studies. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. Let's go on to the next person. You guys have heard me talk about this person a million fucking times. This is Lacey. This is my best friend in the world. She is married. She is 30s. She's going to kill me for not saying 29. And let's see what she has to say. Okay, here we go.
Since I was younger, sexuality was my superpower.
Poetry, baby.
I could give or withhold my vagina from whoever I pleased. For a long time, it felt like it was the only thing I had the ultimate power over. On the other hand, having to tame her with pills and IUDs, boxes and boxes of tampons and doctor visits has made me feel like she was rebelling against me. She's like my fun and sexy frenemy.
Now, she sent me a part 2. I have no idea what this could be. Let's see. Oh, is it the same one? Yep, I just played it twice. Cool. Thanks, Lace. God, I didn't think about this before, but the fucking amount of tampons in the whole tampon tax. If you guys have not heard about a woman named Nadia Okamoto, I believe is how you pronounce her last name, she wrote a book called Period Power. If anyone needs resources and stuff, that's a really good book. And it's also got an amazingly cute cover. It's like pink with red nails around a pussy. It's very cute. The amount of fucking tampons I have bought in my life until the Diva Cup was like mainstream was crazy. And I was a die-hard tampon user. And I would like scoff at women who used pads because I'd be like, oh my God. Like, for some reason, I felt more adult because I was using a tampon. I was like, I can stick something in my pussy and you can't. I don't know why I felt that way, but I just felt like tampons were more like adult woman and pads were more like training period things. I'm glad I don't feel that way now because as I've gotten older, which is something you will hear or hear me talk about with other people's responses, is that as we've gotten older, our cramps have gotten worse. Our periods seem to have gotten so much worse. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're doing more with them, you know? But yeah, so the idea of using a tampon when I'm having like the worst fucking cramps, I can't even imagine how it must feel for people that have stuff like vulvodynia or interstitial cystitis or endometriosis. It's like fucking pads are the key, baby. But then we say that with a harsh asterisk that they're not good for the environment. None of these things are, right? And it's like, how many fucking things can I fucking worry about? My body rights, the environment. It's like, do I have space to fucking do it all? I don't know. Sometimes I just got to do what feels good. And I know that there are like environmentally friendly pads, like reusable ones, but like, I don't know that I really have like the time for that. I've used Thinks, I think is what they're called, Thinks underwear, where you just free bleed into them. Those are great for sleeping. And what was the other thing? The Diva Cup, pads, tampon. I think that's it, right? Anyhoozle. I really liked the Diva Cup. I have not used it recently because my cramps have gotten so much worse ever since getting off birth control. I got really bad fibroids and it's just more intense. So the cup doesn't feel as comfortable as it did when I started. So maybe that's something to also note, is that if your periods are less intense, maybe the Diva Cup is a good option for you. Okay, moving right along. This one is from an anonymous person in my life, and I'm just going to give her a voice. I asked her to just tell me something good and bad, and she said, people have hair in their vagina? Jesus, mine is just on my labia. Well, used to be in the 90s anyway. My vagina doesn't bother me. My uterus is being a fucking cunt right now, though. I just thought that was funny that her uterus was being a cunt. Okay, moving on to the next person. Here we go.
So the thing that I love most about my vagina is that it is really easy for me to have an orgasm or to have multiple orgasms during sex. And I think the thing that I like the least about my vagina, I guess being a woman in general, is that as I've gotten older, it seems like my periods are getting a lot worse and a lot...
See?
It's taking more of a toll on my body. It feels like each month it really knocks me on my ass. It makes me a lot more emotional. My cramps are getting a lot worse. My sleep is affected. My hormones are a lot more up and down, it feels like. So I would say that's definitely the thing that I dislike most about my vagina or being a woman in general.
thank you for that entry. I don't know if they wanted to be anonymous or not, so I'm just going to leave them anonymous since it doesn't say. But, oh my gosh. Yeah, see what I mean? Like, that's the first person to say that they think it gets worse as they get older. And there's something also to be said about hormones. We did have Candace Birch on last week, and I think one or two of you wrote in to me about her answer about PCOS, which I kind of wanted to just quickly address. I don't think Candace meant any harm by talking about diet with PCOS. I don't think she was meaning to fat shame or body shame anyone that does deal with PCOS and has a higher body weight. And I simply just don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about PCOS. I don't have it. And it was funny, like in our Confidently Pod group text with Autumn, who's our new social media manager. Hi, Autumn. And Brooke, who's been the OG forever. We were talking about it, like how to address it. And I was kind of like, even my friends that have it, they only say they have it, right? Like they say they have it and the symptoms, and like, I don't know that anyone really knows. And that there is a more holistic approach that you can take with like balancing out a lot of other factors like lifestyle, and sometimes it's just genetic, so there's like really nothing you can do about it. But I think that's what's frustrating is like, even when I look at my friends who do suffer from it and like fucking suffer, they don't have answers themselves either, and it's really frustrating. And again, I don't think Candace meant anything wrong about the diet and PCOS, but just something, a factor that I think people have talked about. If you hear this door creaking in the background, that's Jared walking by. Okay, there he goes. Moving on to the next. This is a text from an anonymous friend, and they say, I love that my vagina is power. I have never been less horny than during these quarantine times. I'm barely bathing and I essentially look like a couch with eyelashes. I love this person so fucking much. They know who they are. I now find myself using my vagina as a tool for negotiations with my partner during quarantine. Like, if he wants to touch my vagina and I'm not in the mood, I will think of something I want really bad that I know he hates, like an ice cream maker. And then we'll have sex and he's very happy and I have an ice cream maker that I'll surely store on the floor due to lack of space and stub my toe on. The moral of the story is we should show more compassion and less judgment for sex workers. Girl, you are so funny. I love this person so much. She is a very funny writer, creator friend of mine. And it's true. Like, the moral of the story is we should all show more compassion and less judgment for sex workers. And the fact that she wants an ice cream maker made me LOL, because I have to imagine if the ice cream makers at McDonald's are always out and they have like fucking manufacturer grade ass products, one off Amazon must be problematic as hell, right? Like, there's no way the one off Amazon is easy to clean or to work. Does anyone have an ice cream maker? Shoot me a DM. Let me know. I don't know that I want to make ice cream particularly. I just think I want to know more about it. All right, moving on. You all know this next person. You love her. She's been on the podcast. One of my dear friends for a long time now. Frederica, Ladylike Ransom.
So the older I've gotten, the worse my cramps have gotten. So that's kind of what I hate about my vagina, like just being in a lot of pain in my abdomen and my stomach area during my period. I also wish the hair on my vagina was like not so thick. Ooh. What I love about my vagina is that it is a tsunami punani and I can orgasm.
Oh my God. If there is not tsunami punani merch, we are making it and giving the money to Freddie. Holy shit. I need to get my social media girls on that ASAP. Freddie, you have some coin coming your way. Sorry, she's not done. Here we go.
Pretty easily. And yeah, I think it's cute. It's a cute little pocket.
Freddie, I love you. It's a cute little pocket, she says. It really is. You can store things in it. You shouldn't. It could get infected or agitated. Lord knows I wouldn't try. But yeah, that's really cute. She brings up a good point about hair thickness and thinness. We have someone else that wrote in. Let me just scroll down. That they talk about. Oh, here we go. This is from an anonymous older listener, which I love. The fact that we have someone that listens of this age that says, nobody tells you that after 60, your vagina becomes somewhat like an old hound dog. It sags and has a bit of an odor. Thank God for labiaplasty. So listen, it changes over time, right? Like I remember my pubic hair feeling very pillowy, flowy in the wind. And I've also hooked up with people that have very curly hair. Mine is fucking straight as a board, no matter how long I let it grow. And y'all, I let that shit grow sometimes. But that shit is straight as fuck. Which is weird because my head hair is not straight. It's very curly, in fact. By the way, I hope you guys like my quarantine look. Obviously, I put on a t-shirt for you. I was just wearing my sports bra earlier, but I thought I'd get dressed up for my confidants. But yeah, pubic hair is so fascinating. We've talked about it before because we don't want to infantilize pussies, and that's what porn does. That's what the media does. That, you know, if you like it bare, great. And that hair also serves a purpose to block things from getting in it, bacteria, and, you know, materials from your, whatever you're doing, whatever you're putting your pussy on. I don't know. I just imagine someone like scooting their pussy along the carpet like a dog with their legs up in the air like a vacuum. I'm sorry. I know nobody is vacuuming their carpet with their pussy like a dog that has an itchy butthole. But if you had pussy hair, you wouldn't pick up as much stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, Christ. Yeah, so pussy hair is such an interesting topic because obviously we all remember that wave of shaving that came in. I think it was like 90s, you know, like women of the 80s were more free love coming off the disco and hippie era. And I think in the 90s and 2000s was when it was like, fucking make that shit like a fucking slippery dolphin, like a fucking smooth stone. And I go back and forth. I generally have pubic hair. I'll keep it like nice and triangle-y. But I like to let that shit grow, dog. As soon as I gave my body permission to do that, like mentally, I've really enjoyed the hair. I like having it there. I like the way it looks. Now when I shave it all the way off, it's usually for some like random reason. Like I'll be in the shower looking at it and I'll be trimming away. And then this side's a little uneven, this side's a little even, and I keep going and then I keep going. And then I'm like, well, maybe I should do the lips because they're getting a little overgrown. And then I shave all that shit off. And then I'm like, well, then that feels weird because that's really smooth. And okay. And then it just keeps going. And before I know it, I'm bald as an eagle. And there we have it. And the fucking razor burn and the ingrown hairs that come after are fierce, y'all. My mom got me something for my birthday a few years ago called Beaver Balm, and it is spelled, I think, like B-V-E-R, like beaver balm. And I don't know what the fuck is in it, but y'all, this shit has completely stopped ingrown hairs and razor burn from my puss. I actually haven't used it anywhere else, but it leaves a really nice fit. I feel like I'm talking about like a wood-stained desk at fucking Home Goods. It leaves a really nice finish on my pussy where it feels like I have slathered some sort of like thick wax over it. And it's nice. It's not like a clunky or like hot feeling. It's just nice and smooth, like a nice sheet of wax. You guys, I promise it's a good thing. Okay, here we go. Moving on to our next person. This is an anonymous entry. They say, I hate that I can't come from sex and only from a strong vibrator. Makes me feel like there's something wrong with me, that I can only feel pleasure if I force my vagina into it. Worried I'll never be able to be 100% with a man because I'll be too insecure about whether I'm making him feel insecure for not getting me off. What I love about my vagina is that it reminds me I'm a strong woman. Obviously, every month it tells me I'm healthy and well and as feminine as I want to be, but also every day. After you get a UTI once, every day you don't have one is a gift. Boy, oh motherfucking boy, thank you so much to this person for being so vulnerable, because I think the topic of orgasm, I have to preface all of this with like, orgasm is a privilege, right? We've talked about that with August McLaughlin when she came to talk about girl boner, because so many people cannot reach climax. And so, you know, it's a guilt thing, right? Where it's like, yeah, I'm able to come, but only a certain way. And it's like, does that make my, you know, insecurity any less bad because I can come? No, we still feel our feelings. And the idea that vibrators do it better, or our hands do it better, or just ourselves, we do it better, I don't think should be a bad thing, because that's when we're at our most private, right? Like, especially masturbating, you can really do whatever the fuck you want in your head. You can go wherever you want to go. And the idea of actually bringing someone else into it and their body part into it adds an extra layer of pressure. So I don't think we should be so hard on ourselves that even if we are with a partner, you know, we feel a certain thing, especially if you are clitorally stimulated, that you need that vibration or that movement on your clit to come. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's like how your body works, right? But I say that not to negate this person's obviously concern, because there is such a fucking power dynamic with coming and sex. There shouldn't be, but there is, right? Like the idea of like the guy getting off first and then them trying to get you off, and if you're not like staring them dead in the eyes and coming right into their face, they're like, is it me? Do you not like me? I mean, the men get insecure too. And I say that with women too. Like, I have hooked up with women where I thought it was going to be a breeze because we both know the pussy so well, and you know, it's been difficult, and it's nobody's fault. It's a new body part, right? All that to say, I think like this issue is a tough issue to bring up with someone that you're just casually sleeping with, right? Like, I don't know how in depth people are willing to go with that kind of conversation, especially if like you're drinking, or if it's in like a passionate rush of, you know, an after date sort of activity. But I wish we could all be at a place where we could say these things without being judged, or fear of judgment, or fear of giving that other person a lot of anxiety, right? Because if you were to be like, hey, just like FYI, don't worry if I don't come, I still really enjoy sex, like truly, like the entire thing is amazing, I just might not come, like no biggie, then how are they going to take that, right? Like, they might be super in their head, they might try super hard, they might do some flips and tricks and shit they don't do just to try and please you. And so, you know, I hate that it's a communication thing, but it is, right? Like, all sex stuff usually does come down to like consent and communication. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Okay, let's move on to the next person.
Hi, it's Gabby Conti, and
Gabby,
my relationship with my vagina coming from my bathroom is that I think the biggest issue I have with it is the fact that we, people with vaginas, get urinary oh my god,
you got
yeast
this, Gabby.
infections.
Yep.
And urinary tract infections.
Yes.
And I've gotten both, and they're very, very painful, in addition to periods, which is also a pain. My body like really changes every time I PMS, I get my period. It's less of like I feel like my boobs grow an extra size, which I guess like sounds nice to some people, but it's painful, and it's not fun. And I hate having like meltdowns that I feel like I need another bra every single month. And then the urinary tract infections and yeast infections are the worst. Yep. And the way that's handled, I've had so many bad cases with like, you know, how hard it is to get the prescription is crazy to me, because it is such textbook when you have one and you've had them before, you know what they are. You know the difference. And it's crazy to me that we can't just get the medication to cure them with over-the-counter. It's crazy that you have to talk to a doctor. A lot of times doctors want you to go in, schedule an appointment, and it's just a headache.
Oh my God.
And also, buying tampons every month gets expensive, and I was noticing they're hard to find. And also, I feel personally attacked by this toilet paper thing right now because I feel like I use more toilet paper as a vagina owner.
Gabby Conti coming through with the fucking truth. Oh my God, I have so many things to say. First of all, her book just came out. She was on the podcast promoting it a few months ago. Now it is fucking out. It's gorgeous. It's actually sitting right on my coffee counter. Oh shit, you guys can't see. It's too far away. I can't move from this chair without fucking up the microphone. It's very cute. If you don't even want to read it, which you should, you could use it as the most cute decor because has a gorgeous cover. Clearly, I'm a cover whore for books, aren't I? Okay. Thank you, Gabby, for submitting. Go buy your book, 20 Guys You Date in Your 20s. There's a chapter where I'm in it. I am called a character named Leslie. BT dubs. Okay. First of all, I didn't even think about the toilet paper situation right now. We totally use more toilet paper because we got 3 fucking holes to take care of. And Jared and I have this conversation a lot because when he moved in, it wasn't intentional, but he leaves the fucking toilet seat up all the time. We talked about it in that episode about moving in with your partner. I have made the argument. He's like, well, why don't you just put it down? And I've made the argument, statistically, in this household, more people need to sit down than stand up, which is true. My roommate has his own bathroom, so he doesn't count. But between him and I, he has to shit, I have to shit. I have to pee, and he has to pee standing up. It's 3 versus 1. Put the fucking toilet seat down. And then going to the medication aspect of yeast infections and UTIs. I have been on the internet at 3, 4 in the morning with the worst fucking pain trying to find these homeopathic, anything that I can do to relieve the pain, itching, burning sensation. Not to mention that a lot of times yeast and UTI infections get confused for BV, bacterial vaginosis. It's called an STI because it is a sexually transmitted infection. It is not a transmitted disease, which is why we call them STIs now. And just know that there is also that. I don't know any like home diagnosis things for BV yet, but just know that that is also a third option when we're talking about yeast and UTIs. The medication aspect where you are just so desperate and you usually feel the pain worse at night because you're lying down, your body's trying to heal, you're more focused on the pain because you're not out living life. There are so many articles about why it sucks so much more when you go to bed. I have found myself in so much pain that the thing I can recommend the most is a cold water tea tree oil soak. Okay, let me refrain that. Also, always check with your doctor, but this is just what's worked for me after so many years of having these. You put like 3 or 4 inches of water in your bathtub, make it nice and cold, just a few, like 1 or 2 drops of tea tree oil because that shit can also be bad for, you don't want to like put it internally because no bueno. There have also been people that say like tea tree oil can aggravate skin, but I think as far as like, as long as you're diluting it enough in that big ass bathtub. So you put a couple inches, 2 drops of tea tree oil, and you fucking sit. And I have literally fallen asleep sitting up in my bathtub in the middle of the night because of how bad the pain is. Also, I wrote down just some of the stuff, just like some of the reasons why I hate my vagina because I just needed to get it out. And I put down, besides periods, cramps, acne, etc., I have had chlamydia, painful sex, HPV, LEEP procedure twice to remove the HPV. I have chronic yeast infections, UTIs, fibroids, and fucking bacterial vaginosis. And now I think I've got this new thing, this lichen cirrhosis. Who fucking knows? But the fact that medication is so hard to access when we know exactly what it is, for me, it's diflucan every single time. That's what kills it. That's what knocks it out. Sometimes I have to take 2. There are apps that are, I think they're like, you can pay per visit if you don't have insurance. Or if you have insurance, usually an app comes with it that you can video chat with the doctor. For instance, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield. They have an app called Teledoc. There's One Medical, which I'm pretty sure anyone can sign up for. Anyways, I have been in, I think the worst yeast infection I ever had was when I went to New Orleans with my girlfriends on a girls trip, literally like girls trip movie we went. And it was so fucking hot out. We were walking around all day in shorts. We were sweating. God knows that's probably what started it. But I was in so much fucking pain. I think I got a fever and like had to go home early, and all the girls were out, and I got up in the middle of the night and video timed with a doctor, and he was like, okay, I sent it to the nearest Walgreens. I'm out of town, by the way, so I don't even know where like the drugstores are. I fucking walk to the Walgreens because we didn't have a car, and I didn't feel comfortable Ubering in the middle of the night like that by myself in a foreign city. I walked to Walgreens only to find out that they're open 24 hours, but their pharmacy is not 24 hours. And I was like, what the fuck? I thought it was a double deal. So I had to wait till 8 in the morning when they opened on a Sunday to collect my pussy medication. And like by the time I was coming home from Walgreens in the middle of the night, like the girls had just come home from their night out and they were like, oh my God, are you okay? And it was the fucking worst. And I was like, I just need diflucan. That's all I need. I do not want to wait any longer. And so ever since that trip, which was probably 2 years ago, we went for New Orleans Pride. I carry diflucan in all of my travel bags. I carry at least 2, and you can tell your doctor that you need 2. Like sometimes that's what it takes to kill it and really knock it out. So if you are someone that suffers from that, even if you don't, I think everybody should have some motherfucking boric acid and diflucan in their travel bag, period. No pun intended. Okay, moving on. End rant. This is the next submission. This is an anonymous submission. They say, vagina is foe. Once a month, it breaks on me, usually during the most inopportune time, e.g. a hot date. So not only do I break out the week before, like a fat, depressed cow, I deal with the acne scars and the bloody vag for the week following. So menstruation challenges take about half of my year. I think mine is quite ugly due to the labia beef curtains. Makes me self-conscious during sex. Questions you want to answer to your partner. Questions you want to ask your partner. Does it smell bad? Taste bad? Is it too dark? Do you think it's ugly? How does it feel? Is it well-shaved, too prickly? I'm sorry, it's not a porn vag. I just want to have a real eye-rolling back in my head orgasm, but number 3 prevents it. Hell, I'm old and I'm not sure if I've ever even had a true orgasm. As for what I like, sex, I can have sex with the thing. I know this person, that's why I'm laughing, because I just love them, and I'm just like, I can hear this in their voice so clearly. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot here, right? Like the beef curtains thing. Like we grew up in a culture where for some reason men have a fucking opinion about what level of skin we have in a certain area because they've watched porn and seen that someone somewhere decided that this is what a pussy should look like. Imagine if the first person to do like porn like that was like, you know what? Women with long labias is the perfect fucking pussy. And then we're sitting here all putting fucking weights on our vagina, trying to pull our lips down to achieve that. It's like, if a man thinks that that's what a pussy should look like, again, I say this all the time, they are not mature enough to be around the fucking pussy. If they can't taste the pussy, they don't deserve to eat the pussy. I have definitely asked all of these questions to partners. I don't know that I've ever asked them to a one-night stand, but does it smell bad, taste bad, is it too dark, do you think it's ugly? I've definitely asked to long-term relationship people. All the time to Jared, I'll be like, is this bad? Can you taste this? Can you smell this? Because sometimes I can fucking smell it through my fucking jeans. And I don't know if that's what pheromones are or if it's straight up just my stank, rank puss. But I'll be like, can you smell this? And he'll usually say no. I mean, I don't think he's ever said yes, which is why I believe it's maybe pheromones. I can smell my own pheromones. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Someone let me know what I'm saying incorrectly here. But I will have him like do a taste test just to make sure before he goes down on me. And if it's bad, he'll still fucking do it sometimes. I don't think he really cares that much. Like I said, I think it's also like a comfortability thing between us. But yeah, I also do not give a fuck what he thinks about my pussy, but I also I love him and I take in consideration his feelings. There we go. That's how I wanted to say that. But I've definitely asked him. I've always, oh my God, his sexual adventures, the amount of people I probably shouldn't say that. The amount of people he slept with. Like, I want to know, like, what is the craziest pussy you've ever seen? Like, have you ever slept with someone with like a pierced clit, like hairy butthole? Like, I want to know it all. And that's just because I'm obsessed with these kinds of things. But some people would like fucking die and roll over in their grave if their partner asked them this. So I don't know. Just don't be like me is what I'm trying to say. Moving on to my beautiful, beautifully sold friend, Daisy. And I think theirs is a little long. So just FYI.
Okay. I'm sitting in my front garden with my friend. Can I say your name? Sophie.
Sophie, hi.
Sophie. And this is Daisy.
Hi,
and our
Daisy.
neighbor is blasting 50s swing music.
Oh.
So this is going to be great. We're going to talk about our vagina out here.
Cute.
So let's start on a positive note. Let's talk
Yeah.
about what we like about them.
Hell yeah. Oh.
Sophie said she thinks hers is perfect. Elaborate on that.
It's literally perfect. It's so
Yes,
proportionate.
Sophie.
What makes a perfect vagina?
I think it's like just a friendly size. You know, it's like the equivalent of like when you grab a boob and it's just like your handful and you're like, perfect.
Yeah.
I think my vagina is the equivalent of like, if you touch it, you're like, oh, that's like the perfect touch.
good. Yeah.
Ah.
Like my clit is just tucked so perfectly under like, you know, the wings of the vagina.
Yeah.
And all of it is like perfectly
aesthetic.
shaped and
I
no
hope you
shade
guys
to
can
any
hear
other
her.
sizes, but mine is just right for me. It's like, you know, like not too big, not too small. Like I think mine is literally
The Goldilocks of vaginas.
the Goldilocks of vaginas. And I'm blessed.
Blessed.
My
Hashtag
feels
blessed.
good.
Yeah.
My vagina feels good. You have something positive to say about your vagina.
Positive to say.
I love Daisy.
My vagina makes me feel good. Like I can make myself come quite easily, which is nice.
True.
I think that's a bit of a. I mean, if I'm in my head, then I can't.
It happens.
But
It
if I'm
happens.
like
Relatable.
in the right mood, and like porn gets me there quicker, but I also try not to watch porn so that I can like work on getting there mentally by myself.
Men have that problem too.
Amazing.
But yeah, also I have a really good vibrator, like really good. It was like $200. I don't even know what it's called. I'll look it up.
Oh my God.
But it's really nice. So that helps because it really does the trick.
Sex toys are expensive.
That's good. And then aesthetically, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
I keep it kind of cleaned. I have like a landing strip usually because
Love
if
it.
I let it grow too much, it gets itchy.
True. Get stuck
You
in
know?
the jeans.
And like now, because of quarantine, I've been letting it grow out because I don't really care about. Well, obviously, no one's seeing it.
True.
But it's just itchy. So then I find myself shaving it just for me.
The shaving makes it itch for me. So
Yeah.
okay, so you know when you're like
Wait, how
at
do
the
you hear
beach
this?
and you see that guy with the really hairy chest and you're like, oh, that's so much hair.
Yeah.
And, like I just don't want to cuddle up with that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about my vagina. Like
It's a lot.
it's a lot. And I don't want to
Yeah, my
It's a
vagina hair will
lot.
go like all the way down the side of my leg.
Oh my God.
Completely and unruly hoo-ha.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that the hair captures the smell of the pee. What I don't like about pee is it smells like the streets of New York.
Yeah.
I don't need to smell that. I'm a hoo-ha.
No.
Right? No, thank
Yeah.
you. So I
The smell is
That is so funny. The idea that your pussy smells like the streets of New York is the best insult I've ever fucking heard. Unless you're a New Yorker and you're like, what, lively and twinkly? Like, holy shit. I'm gonna stop them there just because we have a few more to get to. Actually, yeah. And I don't want this to go on too long, but Daisy and friend Sophie, I love you guys. That is so funny. Yeah, it's unique that a lot of people talked about aesthetic when I asked. Because that's the first thing I thought of too. Jared and I joke that he could like pick my pussy out of any lineup, and we actually did try that once for Joe's vlog where I drew them, and he knew like literally it took 1 second for him to go like, oh, that one, because I have like, how do I explain this? I think I've explained this on the podcast before, but I have like my like right labia tilts to the left. I don't know if that makes sense. You guys can go watch it's Joe's vlogs and see what I'm talking about if you are utterly confused. Okay, I would love to read this next person's. She is my friend Kate, and not Kate Peterman, not the one you guys are thinking of, but my other friend Kate. And she wrote, "My vagina, a late night think piece by Kate." I hate when my vagina itches. Last I checked, it was a normal itching, nothing to be concerned about, but I hate it so much. It's all soft and wet down there, so it's never a satisfying itch when I try to get rid of it. That's what I was talking about earlier, you guys, that this person, she gets it, Kate. I hate having to do any hair maintenance on it. I started getting laser, full Brazilian, and then was like, oh, but what will my future partner's preferences be? Do they like some hair? No hair? It's exhausting. Sorry, I had to burp. I know a friend that lasered it all off and kind of regrets it because they were like, you know, it's more permanent than they thought it was going to be, and now it comes back in patches. Okay, moving on. I hate that my vagina has feelings. Like when I watch a video of a baby, it's like, give me one of those. It's annoying, and I wonder if it messes with my decision making with partners because it's like, I want his sperm in particular. It needs to chill. I hate that my vagina can only come so far when I'm on top during sex. Same, or it used to be same. And I wish I could climax with some variety. Ugh. Kate, we need to talk about this because I have the same fucking thing. I hate my period. I hate that my vagina is the thing that has to be protected to not get pregnant. So I have an IUD, which I love for the low maintenance, but fucking hate that it is caused my periods to suck. I hate my periods in general, but I especially hate when I feel so wet that I think I have my period and then I definitely don't. It's just fucking annoying. Side note, in my case, I just have like bloops, like drops of water, like bloop. And I'm like, oh, that was my period. And I'm like, nope, just discharge. Just a whole lot of moist. Sorry, I said it. Discharge. I thought we were going to get through this whole podcast episode without me saying the word moist. Didn't happen. I hate that my vagina takes all the attention from guys. So sometimes they just want that. Or if they can't have that, then they can never even be my friend. Dick move. More on the dude than my vagina, but still frustrating that it has that power. Okay, on to love. I love that no one can tell me in public or any setting deemed inappropriate when my vagina is super turned on. The number of times I've been horny as fuck at the weirdest time is immeasurable, so thank God I don't have to deal with boners. Hey, true. I love that my vagina can feel tickled, pleasured by my jeans hitting the right spot. Ugh, true. Or like sitting just in a chair the right way. I love the way my vagina looks. I think I was blessed with an aesthetically pleasing vagina. I even had an ex comment on it when he first saw it that it was a really nice vagina. And then she has this emoji with the hands up like, contrary to a hate I listed, but I also love that my vagina has so much power. My vagina has gotten some great dick when she wanted it. My vagina can create actual life. I love that it's capable of growing a small human. I love that my vagina can orgasm. It's by far its best trick. Oh, Kate, thanks so much. Yeah, that was a lot of great stuff, especially about the things about IUD. I have gone back and forth. I am currently not on any form of birth control. We do practice safe sex in our own fun way, but I feel like I need to get the IUD. I'm just fucking scared because of all the vagina problems I have. Like, how do I know my yeast infections aren't going to get worse because it's like allergic to string? Whatever. Okay, moving on to the next person. This is titled My Poon, by the way. She's nice long intro.
I really like to talk about my vagina in third person. Like when I'm one time I hooked up with a guy and I was riding his face.
Nice.
And I literally said out loud, she deserves everything she's getting right now. And then, you know, like I'll go to the gyno and they'll be like, hey, so how are things? And I'll be like, she's a little sick.
Yep.
Or she's a little upset. I just really feel like the two of us are in this together. Aww. It's ride or die. We're all we've got. So we've got to get to know each other and work together well in order to, you know, get the best out of life and sex.
And sex. I don't know. This person didn't tell me if they want to be anonymous or not, so I'm just going to leave them. But they are amazing, and they have an amazing Instagram. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So much there. I love that you refer to it in third person because I think we all do at some point in time, especially at the gyno. I am like, girl, you are going to become best friends with her. She's going to be your best friend because she needs a lot of attention. She's very high maintenance. And the idea that, like, we're in this life together, right? Like, as far as I know, I think you're only given one pussy. Like, I don't know if you can get sex confirmation on yourself for another pussy. Does anyone know? Someone let me know if you can do like a pussy transplant. Anyways, that's why I feel so frustrated is because I love my vagina. And I am infuriated that she is always sick and dealing with shit. It's like taking care of a child, and I try not to be mad at her. I don't ever think I have the feelings of being mad at my vagina. I know a lot of people who have chronic illness, dealing with endometriosis. Side plug, my good friend Laura Parker's book just came out called Vagina Problems about all of that. So something to definitely check out if you deal with that. Yeah, the idea that you're in this together is so tough, because if you're given a vagina that either, doesn't feel like yours or is always sick or causing problems or pain, can be so frustrating. And so I guess that's my advice on that one, is to like try and look at it like it's your child. Take care of it like you would a best friend, right? Sometimes it leads a little tough love, but mostly you just gotta kind of be kind to it and silly and joke around with it. Okay, this is an anonymous person, and I think I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit to the part I listened to earlier. Let me see here if I can skip ahead. Oh, I maybe can't.
I feel like I have so much to say about this topic, about my vagina, but I don't know where to start because I never talk about it, ever. And I've gone through so many different phases with my vagina and how I feel towards her and how I connect with her. And I'm going through a phase right now where I feel like I have a lot of issues there because there was a lot of shame that sort of came up the past 2 years around sex and enjoying myself and pleasure. And I don't know what happened, because I feel like I used to have a lot better relationship, or maybe I just wasn't aware of some of the underlying issues that I hadn't looked at yet. But I've become so self-conscious of my vagina. It's crazy. And I hate it. I hate that I'm so self-conscious, and I get so nervous whenever I'm going to share that part of my body with someone else now. And I don't think I used to be like that, but now it's become sort of something where I'm just petrified, and I'm going to share some, I'm going to really open up because I think this is so important. I think it's so important that this conversation is had, and I don't talk about it enough. And so I'm going to share a couple things. So I definitely have a self-consciousness issue with how my vagina looks. And I never really knew that, some women were getting plastic surgery to sort of make their vagina look the way it's supposed to look, in quotes. And I didn't really know that existed. And then that kind of broke my heart when I found that out. And then not only did it break my heart, it made me question how my vagina looks. Like, is my vagina, does it not look attractive? Like, I don't fucking know. How am I supposed to know what an attractive vagina looks like? I've never been somebody who's been into porn. Like, I feel very much connected to my sexual energy, but I've just never really been into porn. So I've only seen it once. People might think that's crazy, but I don't know.
Wow, I'm just pausing real quick to acknowledge that. I think that is, not using the word crazy. I do think that is not the majority. That is the minority. To have only watched porn once is, okay, I'm going to say it. It's crazy, right? That is crazy, but it's not incorrect. And it is not to be shamed. And it is not unusual. It is not weird. It is not wrong. I want to make sure that is noted. For me, it's just like, that is pretty fascinating and amazing that that's only once, with how much our media, praises it. This person definitely goes very deep and emotional. I want to keep playing this one.
For me. So anyways, my vagina is something I started feeling self-conscious about because that came into my awareness. And then another thing that I'm super self-conscious about when it comes to my vagina is the skin of my vagina and the hair thing, because I always thought it was like the most attractive thing that guys liked if you had no hair or whatever. So I started shaving the hair on my vagina when I was younger and started having sex because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And I would get so self-conscious when I had hair.
That music in the background was Jared sampling a song. I'm so sorry.
And when I was hooking up with someone and I would like feel like I had to warn them or something, and then a lot of times they wouldn't care, but somehow I still cared. I don't know what it was. But then what happened was shaving my vagina, I started getting terrible reactions to that. I had really bad razor burn that would happen, and that was not good, so I started waxing. And then over time, the wax
I've never waxed.
just
I tried.
destroyed my skin
Couldn't do
with
it.
horrible ingrown hairs, and it was so harsh on my skin, it would burn my skin. But I would still do it because I thought, what else am I supposed to do? Like, I need to get my vagina waxed so that I can be accepted sexually. And then, you know, the waxing was a disaster, so I switched to sugaring, which is a fucking
Never done that
painful
either.
bitch. Like, that shit is worse than waxing. But I would do that, and that helped my skin. But I feel like I have, you know, so many sort of, I guess I just... that sucks that I feel like I have to sort of remove the hair to feel confident. But when I do, I get all these issues with it. And then I'm more self-conscious because if the skin's not perfect, like, I'm going to be so honest, like, there have been times where I've literally put makeup on the skin around my vagina to make it look better.
Oh, honey.
And that's so bad. Like, that skin is sensitive there. I don't know if we should be putting makeup there. Like, that is not something that seems natural. And I fucking hate that I have to do that.
It's hard.
Like, why can't I just let it be? And,
Honey.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
God.
kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So, now I'm getting emotional. Right now, I you know, I'm just letting my vagina be, especially during this quarantine. Like, there's hair, and I'm not seeing anyone, so I'm just going to let it chill.
So,
And it feels like the skin's healing, and that feels good. But, you know, I also haven't had sex in a while because I've been self-conscious. And even before this, like, I don't know, there's just been issues with it, man. Like, I don't know why in the past year or two it's come up more, but I think it has a lot to do with shame around it. And it's sort of one of those things that, like, I feel like I'm so in touch with myself.
Oop. I think that was my computer because I heard that my texting thing was on, so I paused it.
I feel like I have
There
so
we go.
much to say about.
Whoop.
So one thing that I love about my
There we
vagina.
go. We're back.
Love.
Oh, here we go.
That I have to mention is that she is unbelievable at delivering the most magical orgasms, and she's generous with those orgasms. I've never had a problem orgasming ever in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. And I don't know what the reason is, but they just come, and literally in abundance, and it's
There you go.
fantastic. And yeah, I just love that. That's sort of, I love that that's something that has always felt really natural and beautiful, and I've always felt connected to that. And I don't know what the reason is, but for some reason my vagina is just able to orgasm. I'm able to have these magical, super...
Oh, I think that was the end. She sent me two, but the other one, I think we got what we needed. That was really tough. That was really, really brave and super fucking vulnerable. I thank this person very, very much for sharing that, because it's a really tough subject when you feel like your fucking body is working against you and it feels chronic. And, you know, we don't think of vagina problems or vagina issues as a chronic thing because we're grown up to believe every month you're supposed to be in pain, that you're supposed to hate it, that you're supposed to have this anger towards it. And so when something else happens to it, it gets swept under the rug usually. And at least feelings wise, maybe not pro-action, you know, you get it checked up and stuff, but your emotions get swept under the rug. And so I just want to thank this person for being very vulnerable. And I know so many people can relate to that feeling of frustration. And again, like when I just even think about it, like the load of issues that I have with it, it becomes overwhelming. I suppress it. I put it in the back of my head. And I think I just don't have time for this, to care about this and the environment and the quarantine and like volunteering. So yeah, everyone just be I wish I could say just everyone be kind to your pussy, but it's not that easy. Be kind to yourself and your pussy if you can. Okay. This is our last one, y'all.
Kelsey! Oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing this episode.
This is
because
Leah.
I love any excuse to talk about my pussy. I had a very long journey of learning to love it because my pussy, my vagina represents my femininity and my sexuality. And my pussy has been through a lot. But she's resilient. Every time she takes a pounding, she just gets right back up, baby. But seriously, though, like I've been through a lot with sexuality and even something as small as like in middle school when we would get our period and we would be embarrassed and wear our sweatshirt tied around our jeans to cover the back and then like ask a friend for a tampon and you'd secretly hide it like it's chocolate. But it's like, no, I'm done doing that. So now I just proudly like ask friends for tampons in public and loud and proud just walk to the bathroom with it. So I have done like a full turnaround, I feel like. My favorite thing about my pussy is when it gets wet because it knows that's how I know she's breathing and she's working. And I've really learned to like lean into the cycles of my period. And I'm on my IUD, so I actually don't fully bleed, but I still lean into like the seasons of my period. So if I'm feeling really shitty and PMS, I no longer pressure myself to like go and perform really well because now I've learned to accept the cycles and rhythms of my body. What do I hate about my pussy is
Can't be anything.
How big the bush got this quarantine. I actually just used a trimmer for it for the first time because my boyfriend said he would eat me out if I trimmed it. So that was win-win for me. Kelsey, I love you so much.
Oh, love
but
you,
look,
Leah.
I love my pussy more.
Oh, wow.
Meow!
I can't think of a better one to end on. I think that encapsulates the whole thing perfectly, is that loving your pussy is a journey. It is up and down. It has roller coaster emotions, and it is just like any other relationship. And that's why we should treat it as thus. We should treat it as its own entity, its own emotions and feelings. And if you are able to separate yourself from some of the things that are happening and know that it's not you, it is just the cycle of life or the universe's way of doing its thing, getting rid of bacteria, balancing itself, gut health, all that stuff. That kind of helps me, is looking at it outside of myself and knowing that it's nothing I'm doing because I'm just doing what everybody else is doing, right? And it gets frustrating because you're like, why do I have to not eat sugar so that my yeast doesn't get all fucked up and my gut health is... You just want to live a little. So be kind, find that balance, masturbate if you can. It always helps with endorphins and that rush. And guys, that was the vagina crowdsourced episode. If this is something you liked, let me know because I would love to hear from you guys. We did put a call out for the listeners, and I think that we are going to release that over the next week on the social media accounts so we can all connect there. Don't forget to follow at ConfidentlyPod and Twitter and Instagram. Autumn has done an amazing job of revamping all the socials. Me and Brooke were like, we're too busy. We're doing all these other million things. And we are giving so much stuff away. We are doing a book club. I'm so excited. This first one is called None of the Above, and it is about a woman who finds out she is intersex after she wins prom queen. So it's about a high schooler coming to knowledge and finding out about what being intersex means. I'm really excited to read it. I'm going to download it on my Kindle, go sit out by the pool that my neighbors put out. They did an inflatable 12-foot pool in the middle of our courtyard. That's what like a lazy Sunday sounds like, right? So don't forget to follow us on all those socials. Give us a review on iTunes if you can. It very much helps. Share this with someone you love. Okay, our listeners were down last week. I think it's because of the quarantine. Everybody's numbers are down, but we gotta get back up, sis. And don't forget we have merch. I would love to put out a Tsunami Punani under Fred's name, so look out for that because I'm gonna make it happen. It's at teespring.com/Kelsey-Darragh. We've got so much fun stuff on there. I love all the materials, and I'm making sure that everything is nice and soft and fitted. I did choose women's sizes, so remember everything runs just a hair small. So go up if you can. I am 5'9". I'm pretty tall with long limbs and a long torso, so I get a large because I like the stretch and I like it to be a little bit long. And I always figured, well, if it's too long, I can always crop top it or some shit. We're gonna have some sales soon there, giveaways. Once more, we have a Quarantunes playlist happening on Spotify thanks to Autumn. You just Google you just Spotify search Confidently Insecure and you will see the podcast and our playlist. Let me know if you guys are jamming to that. Send us a picture if you jam into that. I feel like we have so much going on. It's like, what else can I fucking plug? Nothing. Let's just go. Have a good Monday. Have a good week. I love you, Confidants. I'll see you next week. Bye.